Welcome to the Open Door Policy. Each week on this podcast, we sit down with a different guest and talk about a letter. Archbishop Vigneron's Unleash the Gospel Pastoral Letter.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
All right.
Be about it.
Each guest we have on this show we think is living it out in a new and exciting way. Before we get started, if you like what you hear and you want to help us be part of this movement to unleash the gospel, be sure to subscribe and share our podcast with your family and friends. And while you're at it, leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to the Open Door Policy Studio, here with our friend Juanita Sanchez, whose favorite emoji is a heart, and she brings so much heart to everything that she thinks and says and does. Buenos dias, Padre Esteban.
Buenos dias. Welcome to Open Door Policy
Studio. How are you?
I was going to say in Spanish, but we're not going to do the whole thing in Spanish.
Yeah,
so.
that'd be confusing to both of us.
I'm doing really
but
well.
Not to our guest. A question though before we jump in.
Yeah.
How has God been working in your life? How have you seen some grace, friend?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have, we're kind of this summer, we're working with a handful of parishes to think about missionary strategic planning. And I've gotten to attend a handful of those meetings and sit at a table with parishioners who are really trying to think about what God wants to do in their parish. And that's been a really privileged place for me to hear those conversations going on and to just see how God's working in different people's lives. And that's encouraging to me, helps my prayer life, and helps me trust Jesus more.
Thanks be to God, being a part of that Sager community.
And we are blessed to have Juanita Sanchez with us from St. Anne Parish. Welcome, Juanita.
Hi, thank you.
It's good to have you. Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
As ready as I can be.
All right.
So
bring it on, yeah. I hear you saying. All right. Number one, Juanita, what is your most used emoji?
Emoji, happy face or hearts.
Yes.
Right. What would be your walk-up music?
Well, I'm very, how should I say? I meditate a lot, so that'll be me.
Yeah.
So meditative music.
Yeah.
What is your favorite piece of religious art?
I think I like the Last Supper.
All right. And what do you think is overrated? What do people talk about or like a lot that you're like, give me a break?
Honestly, a lot of the stuff that is being shown in social media that is just very self-centered.
Yeah. What character from a story or a show would you like to be your friend?
I like Eduardo Verástegui.
Eduardo Verástegui is a Mexican actor, model, and singer.
All right.
Okay,
Everybody knows that one.
Now we'll follow up later.
What's your favorite hymn?
My favorite hymn is in Spanish, and it's from Martín Valverde, and it's called Nobody Loves You Like I Do, or Nadie Te Ama Como Yo.
Cuánto esperado este momento.
What season would you be?
I love fall.
Yeah.
I love scarves.
That's true.
Pumpkin spice latte. Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
And mine is kind of like a promise. It's take God's things, He will take care of yours.
What's your favorite Bible story, Juanita?
I have many, but one of the Bible stories that I really like is the blind Bartimaeus.
Yeah.
And what non-traditional pet would you have?
Oh, I want a goat so bad.
A goat.
Oh, I want to go, and that's my goal to get one. They're
Did
so
you ever
funny.
have one?
No.
Juanita had some farm animals when you were a child.
Yeah.
You did? What did you have?
Actually, my grandpa, he had cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys. They used to chase me, by the way.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you don't want a turkey, is what I hear you saying.
Not unless it's Thanksgiving.
Unless it's on the plate, ready to
Yeah,
So
already cooked.
Your favorite piece of religious art is The Last Supper.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell Father Sue this. This is so cute. So Juanita had told us earlier that she's engaged to a young man named Ephraim, and she also works with Faith Formation at St. Anne. And for the first Holy Communion this year, they dressed the children like apostles for their retreat. And Ephraim dressed up as Jesus and washed their feet. And it was the cutest thing.
They were so cute. It was based on the Last Supper. And those kids, none of them wanted to be a Jude. and all of them wanted to sit next to Jesus.
So no one wanted to be Judas.
No.
Right? Did anyone play Judas?
Yes.
Did they make any? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
it
did.
was pretty intense, I must say. So who gave you the advice to take care of God's things?
Melia Redondo, which she's the director of Escuela de Evangelización San Andrés, so a school of evangelization St. Andrew.
Yeah. Wonderful. And you said your most used emoji is the happy face, kind of the standard one?
Yes.
Or the heart, like I love it, or like the face with the heart eyes?
Anything that has a heart, that'll be
Oh.
me. Even if it's a bad situation, I throw a heart.
So the heart means so many things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Super love. And who's the character that you said, Eduardo?
Eduardo Verástegui. He's a producer right now. He's in Hollywood. He does movies. And he has a really strong conversion story.
He's the guy who was in the movie Bella.
Yes.
I think, right?
so.
Oh, okay.
That
I
cute
know who
one.
that guy is.
I've only heard his name said by people without the right pronunciation. So
Eduardo Verástegui.
right.
Oh, okay. I know who that is too.
Oh,
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Juanita.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, Juanita, we always give our guests a chance to share their testimony, what God is doing in their life or has done in their life. We'd love to hear from you what God has been doing.
God is my everything. He's my motor. He's my reason to be. I grew up being a Catholic in Mexico. I guess I was 8 and I already knew the litany. So I was 12. I was attending charismatic prayer and all of that with my mother.
Yeah.
But, then you become a young adult and then you kind of drift and that's when, at that age that you think that your parents don't understand you. So they don't love you. They're not the words, but you get that. I went through that stage.
Yeah, it can be hard as you kind of you're seeking to find your independence.
And at that point, you were in the U.S., right?
Yes, I was. Yeah. They brought me here when I was 12.
Okay.
So they.
And any siblings or just your
Yes.
parents and you?
I have a brother. His name is
Okay.
Jose. He's younger than me.
Okay.
He looks like Danielle's brother.
He does.
They're
He
like twins.
Very oddly looks like my
Wow.
younger brother in a way that's almost weird and uncomfortable. So
Wow. Now I know why you guys are friends.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then, when did you guys start going to St. Anne?
I started going on 2009 after, actually I went before because I used to work at Holy Redeemer. So I didn't want to go to confession with those priests. So I went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that was St. Anne's or Father Solano Center. But it was 2009 when I lived my Jornadas retreat. And that's how I started being more involved with the St. Anne's community.
Yeah. So Jornadas it's a special
Young
young
adult group.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have to go on the retreat.
You have
To
to go
become
into
part of
yes,
the community, right?
that
That's kind
community.
of the initiation into
Yes,
the community.
it is.
And how old were you when you did that? Were you right out of high school? Were you kind of a couple of years?
No, I was 24. On June 4, 2006, about 4 p.m., that's when I knew God. I thought I knew God, but that's when I really encountered His love. That was like my Damascus. That was when I really knew what the heart meant.
Yeah.
I really had an encounter with Him, and that changed my life. I remember that I came out from it was from Manresa. It was a silent retreat, and I came out from that retreat and the same songs that I used to listen to, which was maybe reggaeton, maybe banda in Spanish. They all talk about God's love. Everything was focused and it was centered on God's love. And I remember even driving to Detroit and seeing burned houses. I mean, they were even cute. They were even cute. Everything was beautiful.
Seeing God's beauty in everything.
Oh yeah, it was amazing encountering God's love, and that was in 2006. On 2009, that's when I went to the Jornadas retreat, and after that retreat, I wanted to give something back to God.
Okay.
So that's when I kind of committed my life. I remember at the closing mass that I told God, I was like, I want to serve you until my last breath. I don't know if I'm going to be, single, if I'm going to be married. I'm not sure what my vocation is going to be. And he took the serious. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating because 2009 is actually when I made my first Marian consecration as well. Oh. So, and then you renew, So it's been 10 years since.
Wow.
For me, too.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Thanks, friend.
So what, can you tell me what you mean by like God took that seriously? So what has your life been like since you kind of made that promise to God?
Well, after that promise, I kind of like committed to service. I knew that my idea was to make happen the promises that I received at baptism and continue his mission, show others who he was. So I joined the Jornadas retreat. I joined the Jornadas group, I'm sorry.
After the retreat, you joined that group?
Yes, I joined them. So I started doing the same thing they did for other young adults.
Yeah.
On 2010, the Escuela of Evangelización opened. And I joined them too because I wanted to form myself to give to others. I remember there was a year that we went out on the streets to evangelize and give people that charisma.
Well, was that intimidating? Was that like fun, exciting, or was that a little bit of like, what am I doing? How did I get caught up in this?
Well, we were sent 2 by 2.
Yeah. Only
with our Bibles, no money, no cell phone, no nothing.
Oh, wow.
And it was such a beautiful experience because I remember going to this porch. We were knocking doors. We were giving people the charisma. And I remember going to this porch where there was a person that he seemed to be drunk and maybe high. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if I was not under that circumstance, I probably would have never approached him, but I did. And we informed him of options for him to attend places to get detox and to help him with addictions.
Yeah.
And I even remember that it actually was me and Efrain, my fiance. We were walking down on Michigan Avenue, and I remember encountering 2 prostitutes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's a different word I should use.
Prostitute,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we reached out to them. We told them the charisma too. I remember praying for them, giving them a hug. And it was so amazing because their eyes reflected God. Mm-hmm. And I remember that if I wasn't, under that grace, I don't know what it was, the Holy Spirit, I would have walked away. That's what Christians do sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, that can be really intimidating, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
What do you feel like God's been doing recently or in new ways?
2017, I started working at St. Anne's.
You were ready
I didn't need a change. I was in the comfort zone, but at the same time, my spirit was telling me that it was time to move. So we were at our first retreat, and I remember that in a lectio divina, I heard God's voice telling me to cast the net to the right, that I needed to do something different. Yeah. So that gave me the answer, and I started this new position at St. Anne's on January 1st, 2017. A year ago, I got another position as the director of Catechesis, Evangelization, and Worship.
It's a lot to learn, right?
Yes, and I'm still learning. And
and it's a lot to build, too, at St. Anne's.
Yes, because you kind of start from scratch.
Well, Juanita, what's your greatest joy right now in your life of discipleship? Is it prayer? Is it service? Is it paperwork?
No, it's service.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Service, serving others.
Praise
Amen.
God.
Thanks so much, Juanita.
So, Juanita, we're going to talk about marker 8.3 of Unleash the Gospel, the parish as a place of welcome. You talked about your own faith journey a little bit. What in your mind or in your experience were markers of a welcoming parish or made you feel welcome either at a different time in your faith, or even now, like if you go visit a different church. And Danielle, I'd love to hear from you on that too. But do you have any thoughts on that, Juanita?
Yes. Well, from Whole Redeemer, when I was there, when I was a parishioner there, Marcela Solis, she was a very welcoming person, that she was always there for you, and she was encouraging you.
Yeah.
Actually, she's like one of the reasons why I started attending the seminary, because she pushed me. And she also believed in me
to start the certificate program.
Right now I'm enrolled in ABA for pastoral ministry.
Look at you.
Can be a priest, but
getting it done.
That's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. What about you, Father?
Well,
it's different for you because you're a priest.
It is. You're right. But
some
actually,
parishes are still not nice.
Well, and working kind of full time at the diocese, I do help out at different parishes. I think it's just people taking the time to say hi to you, to greet you, or that's how I feel. Like, it can be a real scourge or a real challenge of a parish to develop a clique mentality.
Yeah.
Where you're the outsider and you almost feel like they're like they think they're doing you a favor by being by saying hi to you, right? So that can be a little off-putting. Danielle, what has been an experience?
You were speaking a word to me, because usually, completely frankly, I usually like I'm working, serving all week, and I get to Sunday, and it's like burnout on the runway. And so I just collapse into my pew, all by myself, and I close my eyes, shut out everyone else, frankly.
Yeah.
And then the people at my parish are so friendly, and they always give me huge hugs, miraculous medals they find around, ask about my life, all this stuff. But it's interesting because even you're saying this, it's convicting me, because I'm like, am I friendly to people? Or when I'm done, do I just close my eyes and leave?
Yeah. I mean, it's this tension of the parish is where you want to feel at home.
Right.
But it's also part of the mission territory, because we do get people coming who, who we want to invite there. And if they're not used to coming, the pastoral letter uses this little phrase: if a homeless person comes to our parish, we should rejoice. If a teenager covered with tattoos and piercings walk in, let us be glad. And that can be really hard, but we need to have that attitude.
I think I was telling you guys, both know this story. So my sister, some of the listeners know my sister, some of them don't. So my sister wears her hair and is a very holy woman, very prayerful woman, very devout, and wears her hair in dreadlocks to her waist. So if you just see my sister, you're most people don't guess from first glance, oh, devout, practicing Catholic. And so, our community knows. Our community knows, but it's really funny because actually one time she came here. Father Steve was here. This is at the seminary, and they had a fish fry and the money was going to women who were in crisis pregnancy situations. And our nephew was here, who's a different brother's son. And so my sister and I were taking turns holding him. And at one point she was holding our nephew, and some lady tapped her on the shoulder and was like, "Thank you for your brave decision." And we were and Christine didn't understand. She's like, "Thanks." And then later on we're like, "That's really funny." But that happens to my sister all the time. It's just a different element. But
and it's trying to be kind, trying to be welcoming,
right.
Failing, right? We're not going to do it perfectly.
Yeah. But we gotta try.
Trying.
But we gotta try. We don't have to let the world consume them. I mean, we have to shine Christ's light. We have to be there for them. We have to show them that they're welcome, that they're a part of us. We have to have resources, and we just, like you say, it's just a smile that changes an attitude.
Yeah, if we're called to be the light of the world and the salt of the earth,
we are.
That should attract people.
Yes.
And then when they come, they need to feel we want them to be there too, not
this is my place.
Yeah, we'll let you hang out in the light a bit.
Sit here.
Just so you know, you're an afterthought here, right? That's a huge turnoff.
And Juanita does this in a really special way, because when families want to start sending their children to sacramental prep or religious education, Juanita meets with every family.
Yes. Before I register them, I just don't hand them out an application for them to fill out, and that's it. We sit, I interview each family. We fill out the application together. I ask if the kid has any special needs, their family, if they need assistance on anything, if they're not married to the church, if that we can help them with an annulment, and we reach out to them. We make them feel welcome, and like that, I have built relationship. Many of those families registered at the parish last year, and the same thing is happening. Some of those families, they started the RCIA program as well.
You know, we forget, I mean, I forget too, but Danielle, you've worked in ministry. Juanita, you're talking about this, that those of us who are part of the parish can forget how intimidating it might be for someone who's not to show up and like, they don't know what to do. Like even the prayers of the church.
The mass changed maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, 2011, the new words in the mass. And then even like how to address people, how to even ask, like I want my kids to
and these are the requirements. If you have them, you want to baptize, here's 3 pages of requirements. If you meet them, you can come. No, that's not the way.
But I mean, that's such a frontline ministry you're talking about. And I know, Danielle, you did a lot with married, engaged couples.
Yeah. It's interesting in what I would call we would call this like a post-Christian society, right? So there's like
I think we are. We're in the beginnings of a post-Christian society.
So in this situation where you have people who are overwhelmed, who have never heard these things before, right? It does take a lot of like gentle, like walking next to, like, hey, this, and like gentle explanations of like, this is what we do, this is why. Yeah. And another thing that kind of ties into, I think a little bit, is RCIA. And we were talking like months ago, you took a really special another course about just like introducing people to the faith and all that stuff, and you really loved it. Can you talk a little bit about that, like passion and fire in your heart?
Yes, it was a class for Sacraments of Initiation, RCIA. We went to them. I thought I knew what RCIA was about, but once I dive into the program and what it is, and once I learn from it, I can see all the work that is needed. Yeah. Because I think right now at this point in society, a lot of the parishioners or a lot of the people that are coming back, they are coming back to this door. And I feel that we need to be ready and have something for them. Like I was saying earlier, we can't just treat them as a bag of popcorn that we're going to put it in the microwave and it's going to be ready in 2 minutes. I mean, it is a process of conversion. And for some people, it won't happen from September to May. Yeah.
Conversion doesn't always fit neatly in the school calendar year, right?
Of course, no. Yeah. And like, I know there is different models, but I think we need to prepare our lay persons catechists, everyone. I think there has to be something developed. That way we can be ready for them.
If there was like a perfect dream of like, hey, I think this would be like a really cool goal, because this is something else that we talk about is like, you know, in the parish, people will call on May 6th and say, hi, I would like to become Catholic. And the answer that, I mean, I would say most parishes give is
come back
is
on
cool.
September.
In September, we'll start RCIA, which is like, who knows what's going to happen in that time, right?
Right.
Yes.
And so, like, frankly, someone calls like Palm Sunday weekend. Hi, I'd like to become Catholic, and you're like, well, missed your shot this year, friend.
I'd work on the wording of that a little bit, but
that's exactly how I talk in ministry, Father Steve. Right. Just kidding. No, I'm
learning, Danielle.
I'm professional. Yeah, keep up. No, like, what would your like vision be of like, hey, this is what I think it would be like healthy to look like?
Well, to me, we need to have the model that runs through the whole year, but for that we need to have the lay people ready, catechists. That way, when they come into the inquiry stage, we can welcome them and we can have the resources available for them. I know that some parishes do have it, but I know that probably 70% of them don't. They don't really have the help.
Right.
That's why we lack on that. If we understand the importance of our mission on this time, I mean, we could do so many other things. We could be more proactive and we could like really be involved in ministry. But I know that just having volunteers that are ready and they are prepared, because we cannot just welcome them into an inquiry stage, not giving them the right thing.
Yeah, I think of a couple of things here. I think of how important it is for people to have the community to walk with them. So, and I think that's one of, we can talk about it like, we know most of those people don't have ill will who say wait till September.
Right.
But I think part of what they're saying is like, we don't think it's the best experience to do kind of a one-on-one thing for 5 months and then dive into a community. We want you to be a part of a community that we have structured this way. But this last section, the last paragraph of 8.3 talks about these other shallow entry points that maybe if, they're not ready for RCIA or they're not ready to kind of make that commitment, or the parish isn't equipped in that way, that there can be some other shallow entry points. I know a lot of parishes have had success with Alpha, but maybe even like invite them into like a small group, faith sharing group, or to come to something where they can begin to experience some part of the parish community or some community, learn a little bit more and more, whether it's a social event or whether it's hearing the proclamation of the gospel, but where they can begin to feel welcome and feel the parish as a place that they start to belong to.
It's always tricky, like finding that right blend for the person, though. Yeah. Do you ever have people come up to you and be like, "Hey, can you teach me about Catholicism?"
I do, yeah.
Do you really?
I do. There's one person I'm meeting with now. She reached out and said, I'm not Catholic. I've always wanted to learn, and can we sit down and talk about it? So we've been sitting down at regular intervals to talk about, like, she's kind of doing the liturgical year. Okay. And so the last time we talked about like the Ascension and Pentecost and like, so what's going on with the Ascension? She's doing a little reading and we could have conversations about it. It's great. She's not ready to jump into RCIA, right. But it's also not like, there's nothing to do for you now. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's a great joy for me as a priest to do that with people.
Yeah.
Do you? Cool. I mean, that's a lot of your life, Juanita, and Danielle. I know you do that as well.
Yeah.
With these kind of relationships, sharing your faith through relationships.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, anyone who's listening, if you want to be my friend,
if you want to know about
Jesus,
you
can just
reach out to Danielle.
Yeah, just reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Sorry, I don't have any friends. I'm not as cool as Father Steve.
Juanita, as we wrap up, we always kind of invite our guests to share any last word, prayer, kind of blessing that they want to share with our listeners. Do you have anything?
Well, my hope is, and I ask God that we continue asking for His guidance and that we commit to finding His love on everything that we do, but also on everything that the other people give us.
Amen. It was awesome being joined by Juanita today. This woman just lives her life with so much heart. And once again, before we say goodbye, if you liked this episode, please share it with your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your Trader Joe cashier. You can also leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is @OpenDoorDetroit. Help us unleash the gospel. Open Door Policy was produced by Ron Pangborn and the creative team of the Archdiocese of Detroit.
I am trying to make this as comfortable and fun an environment as I can.
I know.
I'm Father Steve Poulos with Danielle Center.
And this has been another episode of Open Door Policy.
If you want to learn more about how to unleash the gospel in your parish, we have an event for you. On Saturday, November 16th, we'll have the second annual Parish Day of Renewal with training on all different areas to unleash the gospel with national and local speakers, ending with Mass with Archbishop Vigneron. Go to the Archdiocese of Detroit Facebook page to get all the details and get your ticket before it sells out.